Hey everyone, Josh here. I got my BRM engine here that I bought for parts. The timing belt's no longer doing its job, so the engine's junk, so I bought it for some parts, but I thought it'd be a good time to do a quick video on EGR deletes because I got the pipe for it and I figured just share some information on it. Before I start, the EGR delete is illegal in some countries, so make sure you know the laws and stuff like that. You are altering the emissions and killing people and polar bears and stuff like that. So yeah, make sure you know the laws and your country's laws and as far as competition use and stuff like that. So if you want to come over here, the BRM is a little bit different than the ALH and the BEW. You've got this nice turbo that kind of fits in there. Exhaust flow comes out of there for your EGR. Goes through this piping. This is the cooler down here, and then it goes up into your EGR valve, into the intake. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can physically delete it, or you can do it with tuning. As far as physically deleting it, you can just put a block plate in here, which would just stop the flow through all of this. It kind of will work, everything will be there still. It'll kind of look like everything's operating, depending on your competition use. The other way you can do it is put a race pipe right here, put a blocker plate on there, and then you can get rid of this cooler. It's kind of nice because these coolers sometimes leak. And also the little butterfly valve down here, this one's all floppy. It leaks and it'll hiss, and you're losing exhaust pressure going to the turbo. So we've got our eBay EGR kit. You got the race pipe, you got your elbow, and then an assorted bag of goodies. The BRM kit, you'll find it if you look up a BRM EGR delete or a 55mm EGR delete. It kind of depends on what you're looking up. They're about 50 bucks or so. The downside is they do a really nice job welding, but the flange is really thin, and also this one's got pretty bad marring and stuff like that. All the other ones, they usually use a thicker machined flange, and they have an O-ring, whereas this uses a dollar store cork. And the other issue with this kit will be your coolant barb. I'd probably throw that in the garbage and either just get a straight piece of pipe or get a better barb. This is probably gonna crack and cause issues down the road. So that's if you're physically doing it, and then if you're gonna tune it, you can do it DIY tune, which I might do a video on later, or you can go to one of your favorite tuning companies and get it done that way. So let's start physically taking some stuff off and go from there. So the first and obviously the cheapest way to do it is install a block off plate between your EGR cooler and the turbo there. You can get blockers on eBay for, I don't know, $5–10. The BRM and I believe the CJAA are the same. You can also go to a local shop and get a thin piece made up. So what you could do with turbo mounted on the car still is basically have your gasket, slip this in there like so, and then bolt this on there so everything's physically there. It's just this plate is blocking the flow coming out of there. So that's the quickest and cheapest and easiest way. Is you probably wouldn't even have to remove the turbo. You can just unbolt the EGR here. Same thing down at the cooler there. Get that out of the way a bit, slip it in, and then away you go. And then next up will be actually installing the race pipe and physically removing all this stuff. So you've got this hose going to your heater core. This one goes up there. So that goes down to your cooler. And then this one here goes up to your heater core. So the barb would basically go here to there, or you can just get a hose made up from there right up to your heater core. basically bypass all this. So you do that, unbolt your cooler. You've got a couple bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the actual EGR and anti-shutter valve. You can unbolt there, and then there's a one. Just down in there. So it's a bit of a tricky spot. I guess it's a good time to say if you're installing a race pipe, you're now deleting your anti-shutter valve. So that's used when you're shutting the engine off and also can prevent a runaway. I know it's saved a couple engines that I've done from when turbos go or whatever from running away. So that's one downside of the race pipe. But so anyways, let's get some components removed and install the race pipe. So there's the EGR off. So here's our intake. As you can see, it's carboned up a bit there. Definitely not as bad as ALHs get, but you could definitely take it off at this point and clean that up. Or you can leave it on, whatever you want to do. So next up, you can clean up this mating surface. Clean all the leaves out of it and the bolt that I dropped. Get it, there we go. And we can throw the race pipe on. So that's basically what the race pipe and everything looks like. The turbo, there's the block off plate. So then you're ready to roll. You got a lot more room on the back side here. As far as tuning, you can leave it with all the components on. That's obviously the most simplest way. As long as your cooler doesn't leak or that butterfly valve that I showed earlier. That way, if you ever want to put the car back on the road, you can just take the EGR delete tune off and away you go. They also wake up a bit better with a tune on it, so it's definitely worth the money. The other option is when you tune it, you can add this race pipe, get rid of the cooler. The only thing is you'll have to tell your tuner that you have a race pipe on, because now you no longer have your, or make sure that the tuner knows not to have the EGR valve or the anti-shutter valve tuned in on the file, because then you'll get check engine lights for electrical faults. So that's just something to be aware of. And yeah, hopefully it makes your car breathe a bit better, and away it goes. All right, thanks for watching.